Hey guys, say hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
How's work? Working from home.
It's okay.
Working from home.
Why?
What do you
What's
have? Do you
going
have
on?
any wisdom nuggets to share? Are you looking here in the lens, or
No.
you're looking at yourself?
Okay, I don't know how to look there.
Yeah.
For who? Wisdom nuggets for who?
For the world.
Just be like a squirrel.
Why? Why a squirrel?
Because they're curious.
They're curious. They're curious.
Shh, kiss baby.
Give me a kiss. Thank you, baby.
Okay.
All right, stay curious.
Yes.
From the boo.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. So the problem with online learning sites are so many, right? And so that's why I'm making this video, because some of you have emailed me obsessed with online courses and taking one course online. And I understand the appeal, you know, and I'm not here to bash those types of courses or certificates. They're already attacking me. I'm here to point some things out to you guys that you're probably not thinking about, because I've reviewed a couple of CVs lately, and a lot of the CVs, like, you just see some people, they list like 10 courses they've taken on Coursera, on Udemy, and I'm like, okay, you took these courses, and so what? Like, so did you just take the courses? What have you learned? What's the skill, right? So that's really where this video is coming from, to point you guys to some loopholes in these courses, what this too good to be true course sites, or whatever you want to call it. I don't even want to call it education. Well, I guess it's education. I guess I'll call it online. Okay, for the purposes of this video, we're gonna call it online learning sites. Let's call it that, online learning sites. What are these sites? So these sites are like Udemy, Cogno, Curious, etc., right? And they are like a marketplace to learn. Okay, some of them are free, some of them cost money, and you don't have to get some special admission, you don't have to write a statement of purpose, you don't have to submit your CV, you just pay for a class and you take it. Okay, and or some are free, most of them are free actually. So for example, I have thought about starting a class in Udemy, because it's like a marketplace, like anyone can start a class. So the first issue with these courses, these online learning sites, is that the quality of the courses vary wildly. And for this video, I did a little research on these little websites, these little sites, and some courses are actually really good, right? Some courses have nothing to write home about. And you as a learner, you don't know that. Like, you don't know what's a good course or a bad course, right? You're just learning. I'm a professor of public health, and so I have I'm looking at these classes through a different lens, right? I've gone through training on how to develop a class, how to develop an effective class, you know, writing student learning outcomes, writing objectives. And you look at some of these classes, they're fantastic. You look at other classes and you're like, wow, and you're charging $50 for this class? Like, that is horrible, right? So what I'm saying is these courses vary in quality, and that's a problem you should think about. And that's something you should consider. Are you taking a class that is very low quality? Okay. Most times it's not about learning anything. It's about your CV. Oh, what can I put on my CV? That's why I'm reviewing a CV and I see 10 courses listed taken in Udemy. And I'm like, okay, you took these courses. What is the skill that you have learned? Is it just about taking courses? Good job for taking the courses. Good job for completing those courses. But is that it? Is that what it is? Is that all there is to this? And so it forces you to want to just improve your CV, but it's a very low quality kind of improvement, you know? So that's why I always say, look, if you're gonna take these courses, if you're gonna spend your valuable time taking these courses, there must be a skill. What is the skill you are learning? What is the skill from these courses that you can put into practice? That is vital. If you cannot answer this question and you're on your 5th, 10th, 100th class, you have a problem. So another problem I have is that many of these platforms, many of these learning sites focus on quantity over quality. And as a professor, it bothers me. Like that is not the focus of learning, okay? The focus of learning is quality. And a lot of these sites, they just want people, you know, when they advertise, they're like 100,000 people took this class. Like, sir, 99% of those people learned nothing, because there was no quality. There's so much focus on quantity and quantity, and that is not the focus of learning. I'm so passionate about this because I just see what these online course sites are doing to people. You know, and I know some of you are learning, and there's a small portion of people who are actually, you know, using, like actually learning, and there's some quality in what you're getting from these sites. But the majority of people get lost in the sea they get lost, right? And we have to carry everyone along. And if we cannot carry everyone along, then what is the point? Massification limits the ability for students to interact effectively with their instructors. So true learning occurs when there is thoughtful feedback, this interaction between a learner and an instructor. And whether it's face-to-face or online, true learning occurs when there's that interaction and when there's formative feedback, when formative feedback is present. But a lot of these sites don't have that, right? I told you guys I did some research on this, and that's why I'm so passionate about it. Sites don't have this. So if you're learning, if you're in a class and your instructor, and you submit an assignment and your instructor doesn't read it or cannot provide you formative feedback, then what are you learning? Because all you're turning in is just assignments, and where there's no learning happening because there's no formative feedback. And formative feedback, for those of you who don't know, it just means that your instructor reads your assignment, points out what you did right, points out what you did wrong, and then tells you how you could have done that right. So that's how learning occurs, because if you submit something and nobody grades it, or your classmate grades it, that's not quality, because the instructor is not grading it. Because the instructor, again, massification, the instructor cannot read 50,000 students' assignments. So you're just submitting it and hoping you get some feedback. You're never going to get feedback, and you're never going to correct what was wrong with your assignment, and it's a cycle. And it's annoying. And it's sad, because there's no learning taking place. Because in the absence of formative feedback, there's no learning. This model, like these online sites, this model is fine for an informal student-instructor interaction, or someone who's like dabbling in a course, like in an idea, but it's not the same as attaining an education. It's just not the same. I'm sorry, it's just not the same. So some of these websites, some of these sites, they use anonymous grading. So if somebody anonymous grades your work, I mean, how are you even going to know who to hold accountable? Because when I grade students' work, at least they know the professor, they can ask questions, they can ask for clarification. But if anonymous is grading your work, then what if they're biased? What if, you never know, what if you write something and they're like, and they have a difference of opinion, and opinion is not the point of education. Objectivity is the point of education, science. And so you have anonymous who you cannot hold accountable grading your work. So there's just so many issues, guys. So another issue is that plagiarism is really, really high among these websites, these sites. People copy people's classes, and in a place like Udemy, I heard of an issue where people, like a guy copied another guy's class and loaded it on Udemy and pretended to be the professor of, like, he created the class, and that's not good, right? Because that's plagiarism. That's copying somebody else's product and making it seem like it's your product. Even assignments, people copy other people's assignments, and that's the thing. There's a lot of people take these courses. You use people's assignments. You're not learning anything. You're just doing it so you can put it on your CV. Am I lying? I'm not lying. It's true. What are you learning? What's the skill you learned? Or did you just copy other people's work and paste so that you can say, oh, I completed this course, and you didn't learn anything, just copy and paste? I mean, we're too old for that, right? Like, if you're an undergrad, if you're a kid, That's not excusable either, but at least. But when you're in grad school, when you're trying to improve your life, copying other people's work is just not like it's a criminal offense. Okay. So a lot of these classes are not accredited, and that's an issue because although these classes may help you update your knowledge, like programmers, a lot of programmers use these sites, to get some new knowledge, update your knowledge, blah, blah. But accreditation is vital. Accreditation is important because it makes sure that the quality is up to date. It makes sure that the quality is there. Okay, so that's why that's why you should never go to a school that is not accredited, or you should never take a course that is not accredited for quality and compliance. Because when these accrediting bodies go to review courses and review programs, they're looking for quality, they're looking for compliance, they're checking the instructors to make sure that the instructors are who they say they are and are equipped to teach you and to provide you with these learning resources. But a lot of the sites don't have any of that. So any Tom, Dick, and Harry can create a class and make up stuff, and then you go learn crap, right? So think about that. Is it worth your time? Maybe, maybe not. So accredited courses meet industry standards, and several studies have shown that if you go through an accredited course, you're more likely to do better on the job than if you went through a course that was not accredited. So let that be something you think about and consider as well. So completing an online course from an online site may show employers that you're ready to learn. You can actually finish a course, because that's an issue with a lot of these courses. They have a very low completion rate. They can show employers that you are tenacious, you're passionate, you're driven. They show things about your personality because you're like, oh, they took this class, they took this course, blah blah blah. So that may set you apart, but that is never going to land you the job. That's not enough to land you the job. Why? Because there's skills required. Again, skills. We go back to skills, because you can take all the courses in the world, but if you cannot show that this is what you learned from the course, because a lot of these courses are skill based. What are you learning? What is practical about what you've learned? It's not just about taking the course. It will set you apart, like I said, but make sure that if you're taking these courses, if everything I've said doesn't matter to you and you're like, I want to take these courses, forget Anne, forget what she's saying, I don't give a damn, then at least get a skill from this course, right? Get something that you can show for. So when you write your CV and you write, oh, I took this management course on this site, lasted 3 weeks, 3 months, whatever. What is the skill? So right under that course, then you write the skills that you've learned from this course. If there's no skill that you can put under a course, is it worth taking that course? You tell me. You tell me. Like most things, it is not what you know that matters, but how you show what you know that matters. That's what matters. Show what you know. Don't just say what you know. Show it. Again, that's the skill. Show what you know. A lot of people are hopeful and excited that these courses can help them enhance their resumes for free without having to go back to some formal kind of education, right? But there's a problem with that, because anything that is too good to be true typically is too good to be true.